Ella's hands were covered in dirt, trembling as she pulled the small waterproof container from beneath the withered rosebush. Her heart pounded so violently she could hear it in her ears. The envelope inside was addressed in handwriting she'd recognize anywhere. Her grandmother's elegant script, "My dearest Ella." But it was the date that made her breath catch in her throat. 2 weeks before Grandma Betty died. And somehow, impossibly, Ella had dreamed about this exact spot just hours ago. As she broke the seal, she had no idea that the words inside would shatter everything she thought she knew about her life. If you want to know what happens next, hit that like button and subscribe to hear more incredible true stories. And tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from right now? 32-year-old Ella woke up at 5:17 in the morning with tears streaming down her face and her grandmother's voice still echoing in her mind. The dream had been so vivid, so real, that for a moment she forgot Grandma Betty had been gone for 3 months. In the dream, Betty had been standing in her old garden, pointing at the rose bush in the far corner, the one they'd planted together when Ella was 7. Betty's words rang clear. "Find what matters, sweetheart. It's buried where broken stems bloom again." Ella sat up in bed, her husband Marcus still sleeping peacefully beside her. Her hands were shaking. She hadn't thought about that specific rose bush in 15 years. Not since the summer she turned 17. The summer of the fight she could never take back. The summer she'd screamed that she hated Betty and stormed out. The summer that created a rift that never fully healed. "It's just a dream," Ella whispered to herself. "Just grief playing tricks." But it didn't feel like just a dream. It felt like a message. By 7 o'clock, Ella was pulling into the driveway of her grandmother's house. The place looked haunted by neglect. The garden that had once been Betty's pride and joy was a jungle of weeds and wild growth. Ella had inherited everything 3 months ago, but hadn't been able to face going through Betty's belongings. The guilt was too heavy. Marcus had tried to stop her from coming alone. "It's just grief, Elle. Dreams don't mean anything." But Ella couldn't wait. Something pulled at her chest, urgent and insistent. She made her way through the overgrown path to the back garden, and there it was, the rosebush from her dream. It was barely alive now, its branches skeletal and brown, but it was the right one. She knelt in the damp earth and began to dig with her bare hands, not even thinking about the dirt pushing under her fingernails or the thorns scratching her wrists. She dug until her fingers struck something solid. The waterproof container was small, sealed tight against the elements. Inside was a single envelope, pristine and white. Ella's hands shook as she opened it. The date stopped her cold. This letter had been written just 2 weeks before Betty died. The letter began simply, "My dearest Ella, if you're reading this, then you found what I couldn't give you while I was alive. The truth. Your mother didn't die in a car accident when you were 5 years old," Betty's handwriting revealed. "I've carried this lie for 27 years. Claire, your mother, is alive, Ella. She struggled with addiction after you were born. When you were 4, she lost custody. When you were 5, she left. And we made a decision that I have regretted every single day since. We told you she died because we thought it would hurt less than the truth." Ella couldn't breathe. Her mother was alive. Her mother, who she'd mourned for 27 years. The letter continued. "Claire got clean 8 years ago. She rebuilt her life. 10 years ago, she reached out to me. We've been in contact ever since. She wanted desperately to know you. But I told her to wait. I was wrong, Ella. I was a coward who chose my own comfort over your right to know the truth." Ella didn't remember falling, but suddenly she was on the ground, sobs tearing from her throat. Everything she knew was a lie. Her entire childhood built on deception, and Grandma Betty had been lying to her face for nearly 3 decades. But the letter wasn't finished. "Your mother lives in Portland now. She's remarried to a good man named Thomas Walsh. They have a daughter, your half-sister, Nina. She's 12. I've enclosed her address. What you do with it is your choice. But please, sweetheart, don't let my mistakes steal any more time from you. Forgive me. Forgive her. And please find a way to forgive yourself." Ella called Marcus from the garden, her voice so broken he couldn't understand her at first. She sat there among the weeds and dying roses, her grandmother's confession in her hands, and felt her entire world rearrange itself. 2 days later, after 48 hours of crying and raging, Ella did something that terrified her. She sent an email to the address Betty had provided. "My name is Ella. I think you're my mother. Grandma Betty passed away. She left me a letter. If you want to talk, I'm willing to try." The response came in less than 2 hours. "Ella, I've waited 27 years to hear from you. If you're willing, I'd love to meet you, just to see your face, just to tell you I'm sorry. Your mom, Claire." The meeting was set for Saturday at Riverside Cafe in Portland. Marcus drove with her, though he promised to wait in the car. The 4-hour drive felt like both an eternity and no time at all. Claire Walsh walked into the cafe at exactly 2 o'clock, and Ella knew her instantly. It was like looking at herself aged 20 years. Same green eyes, same slender hands. Claire saw her too and stopped dead, her hand flying to her mouth. Tears spilled down both their faces. "You're so beautiful," Claire whispered. "You look just like your grandmother." "I don't know what to call you," Ella admitted. "I don't know how to do this." "I don't either," Claire said honestly. "But I'm so grateful you're here." The conversation that followed was raw and honest. Claire didn't make excuses. She explained the postpartum depression that spiraled into addiction, hitting rock bottom, and finally getting into a program that saved her life. "Your grandmother reached out when you turned 22, Claire explained through tears. "She sent me a photo from your college graduation. She told me you were happy, engaged to Marcus, had a good life, and she asked me to wait. She said bringing me back would only hurt you, and I agreed because I was still so fragile." "Did she ever regret it?" Ella asked. "Every single day," Claire said. She pulled out a worn envelope. "This is the last letter she sent me, 3 weeks before she died." Ella read Betty's words to Claire. "I'm going to tell her soon. I'm running out of time. I'm leaving her a letter in the rose garden where I taught her that broken stems can bloom again. Promise me you'll help her understand I did everything wrong, but I did it out of love." The two women cried together, mourning the same woman from different angles. "I'm not asking to be your mom," Claire said. "I know I lost that right. I'm just asking for a chance to know you." Ella nodded slowly. "I have a half-sister?" Claire's face lit up. "Nina. She's 12. Smart, funny, loves art. She's always wanted to meet her big sister." 3 weeks later, Ella invited Claire to Grandma Betty's house. Together they spent the afternoon clearing the garden and planting new roses where the old ones had died. Marcus took a photo of them, dirt on their faces, smiling tentatively at each other. As they packed up, Ella found something at the bottom of the container she'd missed before. A second note in Betty's handwriting. "The garden taught me that some things need to die so new life can grow. The lies needed to die, sweetheart. Forgive me for taking so long. Forgive her for being human. Forgive yourself. That's where new life begins. In forgiveness." Ella stood in the garden as the sun set, casting everything in gold. Claire stood beside her, not touching but present. Grandma Betty's final gift wasn't just the truth. It was the chance to build something new from the ruins of what had been lost. "I don't know what our future looks like," Ella said softly, "but I'm willing to find out." Claire smiled through tears. "That's more than I ever hoped for." The newly planted roses would bloom in spring, their roots taking hold in soil that had been broken but was finally being tended again. Sometimes the people we love keep secrets not to hurt us, but because they don't know how to heal us. And sometimes forgiveness doesn't erase the past. It just plants seeds for a different future. Grandma Betty knew that. She learned it from the roses, and in her final act of love, she passed that wisdom on. The garden would bloom again, and so would they. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And don't forget to subscribe for more incredible true stories. Thank you for watching.